go down, diddy down, down. They enchant all the ladies and see all the scenes with their up, diddy up, up, and their down, diddy down, down. Up and down, flying around, looping the loop and defying the ground. Up and down, they're frightfully keen, those magnificent men in their flying machines.
Let's see what I got on my project task list for today. Okay, so I installed the ELT mounting bracket, so now I got to fit and install the luggage area boards. These are the floorboards, so to speak, behind the pilot and co-pilot seat, sitting on top of the boom tube. So there's one, a short one for the pilot side, and it's short because the fuel hose comes in from the turtle deck here. So the removable part is shorter than the longer one, which goes on the co-pilot side. So what I have to do is, because I put the boom tube being along here, and I put that bracket to hold the ELT, that projects into this area. So I've marked here for a cutout. So I'll do that. I'll cut that with the jigsaw now and fit this, and then if that works like that, then I'll use the same method on the longer one, which goes on the co-pilot side. Let's get to it. Now, I already used my jigsaw to make a cut in on each side of the rectangle, and now I'm going to drill a round hole here and here, just like this one was done, so I can finish the cut across the back. Grabbing a bit of the carpet on the other side. Surprisingly, the jigsaw blade didn't grab the carpet, unlike the drill. A nice clean cut there. Very good. That'll do, pig, that'll do. So that's that side of the baggage compartment floorboards installed, with the little notch there for the ELT bracket. Okay, and now the other piece. Wow, nice little notch. Gotta be careful I don't rip any wiring out. That might be a little bit loose. Fits nice. So, let me tick another task off the list. Number 2 on this list. Excelente. somehow, even though this plane has never flown, certainly never landed, and definitely didn't land on water, I don't know how this wow in this monsoon support happened. Perhaps one of the couple of times I dropped the wing. Yeah, I think so. Anyway, it's kind of disappointing, have to be repairing damage before the plane ever gets into the air for the first time, but you gotta do what you gotta do. So as my British friends would say, let's crack on with it. Run across a few British people in my travels around the world. Do I count any of them as friends? Oh, I know, there's a lovely guy named David who I follow on YouTube videos for the longest time, a number of years. I followed him while he was living on a narrow boat, as they call it, a canal boat in England. Now he doesn't have his canal boat anymore, but he still puts out his YouTube videos about the narrow boating life. I find them quite interesting. So, thank you, David. I consider you my only English friend. Which is kind of ironic. All my grandparents came from England. My parents were both born in Canada. But I don't feel a real affinity for anything English. I play the bagpipe, which is Scottish. I love the Irish. So, I am partial to the British. But maybe not the English. Here's what a crescent wrench might be good for. A hammer. Okay, I'll just leave that bolt's kind of stuck, doesn't want to come out, so let's just move on. There's some easier ones, and then I'll punch that bolt out. Better to pull it out, not punch it. Now these two smaller A and 3 bolts have spacers, plastic spacers in there. So I have to make sure I don't lose them. And I put them back. This is where the little parts bin is very helpful. Two spacers. I've been thinking, it'd be really nice if I was to paint these fluorescent yellow, like search and rescue yellow, you know, like really bright. I thought. But I have a carefully defined scope of work that I'm working against. And painting them yellow is definitely adding a task to the schedule. So as the project manager, I'm going to be aware of that and only let it happen if it doesn't jeopardize my schedule. Let's see how I can bend that back without damaging it. Sometimes, when all else fails, bring out the persuader. But in actual fact, the proper hammer can often be the right tool for the job. So, got my vise, so rarely used and unfortunately rusting away here in the outdoor hangar. And firmly clamped is the victim of this persuasion, and let's see what happens. Make sure it's tight. Well, it's definitely coming together. Straighter line. You're building a plane, Bob? I've already told myself I'm going to order the right replacement part from the manufacturer. But what I've found out, apparently Progressive Aerodyne has gone out of business. Progressive Aerodyne being the company that provided this kit. And that's really unfortunate. I'm really hoping that someone can realize that they've got a really good product. And they've got a lot of people out there who either bought their factory planes or their kit planes who need the support of an ongoing company. So, Progressive Aerodyne, may you rise like Phoenix from the ashes and replace this part. In the meantime, another bash. Yes. So I straightened the bent aluminum part as best I can. It looks pretty good. I did put it back on. It doesn't seem to have suffered any damage other than being bent and then bent back into shape. But I will try to contact Progressive Aerodyne and order a spare for future, but I'm not at all concerned about it for its purpose. As far as I'm concerned, it's fit and functional for what it's supposed to do, safely and reliably. Now, green indicates that the tail wheel is down, so you can land on land. That's what the lights tell you and the switch tells you, but you really got to check it yourself. You got to look out there and see where the tail wheel is. And just as important, if you want to land on water, the two blue lights should be on. And once again, you can't rely just on your lights and the switch position. You got to be able to see. And for the pilot sitting here in his seat flying the plane, you can't see anywhere near the tail. So what I need is a rear view mirror. And ideally, it'll be located right out there, right on the support on top of the sponsoon. A convex rear view mirror so I can see where the tail wheel is. Okay, that's today's little job. Okay, backup mirror. Well, of course it's not a backup mirror. This plane is never going to back up. A rear view mirror so that I can see the tail wheel from the pilot seat. I got this convex rear view mirror from a local auto supply store, and like most things you can buy in those sort of stores, it's cheap. Cheap in price and cheap in quality. All the other metal on my plane is stainless steel or aluminum or CAD plated bolts. And this isn't going to last very long, especially in a saltwater environment once I start landing on the salt water. But so I view it as disposable. Let's get this thing figured out, use it for a little while, and then be prepared to replace it with something of better quality when the time comes. So I think I'll install it using this bolt here that holds on the sponsoon. I put this here using this support. It actually comes with a couple of supports, so there's some flexibility. I could mount it in different places, but I think this is the place to put it. So I'll take this bolt out, bolt that on, and then I can turn the mirror around a bit and then tighten it down. And from here, I should be able to see the tail wheel. Not just the tail wheel, but the whole empennage. The elevators, vertical stabilizer, rudder. There are other things that could happen back there at the aft of the plane that, as the pilot, might want to know about. But most importantly, the position of the tail wheel, up or down. I've heard that a real mechanic never uses a crescent wrench. Use the proper size wrench. So, do what you hear the tradesmen and craftsmen do. One thing I've learned from hard experience is the tools you're using for the current task, keep them in a bin so they don't fall on the ground, get dirty, get lost, and you stay semi-organized with your tools. And equally, all your fasteners you're using, put them also in a container so they also don't get lost, mixed up, and lead to a lot of stress and turmoil. You're going to have enough of that as it is. Okay. I recently watched an Experimental Aircraft Association webinar on fasteners. And one of the things they talked a lot about was whether a washer is required under the head of the bolt. And basically the lecturer, who had an enormous amount of experience, said no. Okay? The washer under the nut is required so that you get the right spacing, the right number of threads, i.e. one or so threads sticking out from the other side of what you're bolting, so that the nut will properly torque down. Okay. So since I'm adding an extra thickness here, I'm going to take out the washer that was previously under the head. Make sense? Looks good. Well, I can certainly see the mirror, and I can see the tail wheel, but I don't see the whole rudder. So I'm just going to have to tip it back a little bit. There, I think that's much better. Let's tighten that down. Okay, I set up my torque wrench for the AN4 bolt. One thing I've learned when torquing up things, especially on hollow structural members, is that be careful not to over torque. Don't crush the tubing. There we go. I'll just tighten down the back of the mirror so it doesn't swivel on me. well. I'm pleased with that. I'll see how the salt water treats it.
That's all, folks.